Peace and love, family. It's your girl, Sixthegoddis. And keep in mind, I'm a goddess and I'm sensitive about my shit. I hope you all are doing well. I am doing amazing, but I was doing better before the clips of this podcast that we're about to review came across my algorithm. Okay. I was disturbed after having to be forced to see this. Okay. I didn't know what I was getting into, and to hear the things that are coming out of these people's mouths, to see the things that are being said, I'm flabbergasted to say the least. And we're going to talk about it. Okay. By now, I think people have kind of picked up on my style and my philosophy. And I believe in, for women, being a grown woman, you're responsible for yourself. You're responsible for what you deal with, what you don't deal with. Every human being has the right to protect themselves, set boundaries, defend themselves. You have a choice, normally depending upon how much you love yourself or how much self-respect you have. You have the choice on what you do or do not deal with. So I don't allow women to cry and play the victim, like, oh my God, he did this to me, he did this to me. Because a lot of women suffer from such extreme control issues that it allows you to continue to be susceptible to abuse, because you are so set on not letting someone else win or be right. Okay. And we're going to look at that type of woman when we break this down. So I'm going to pull this up. But before I do, ladies, pull up and take a look at today's look. Giving purple. Okay. Now I get ready for all my content live in my Patreon. I have a women's only Patreon. While I'm getting ready for my content, we have great girl talk about all different subjects, anything pertaining to relationships, women, womanhood, family, finances. We cover it all. Like, for example, today when I did my get ready with me to do this look, we did live beauty audit. So everybody was able to come up and, get suggestions for, their hair, their makeup, according to their social media profiles. So you never know what we're going to do. It's a great community of women from all different walks of life, all over the world, that are like-minded. They are solution-oriented. They are accountable. They are responsible for them. And it's a great support system to have if you want to shy away from the typical basic B crowd of women who blame everyone else and take no accountability. And you need support in that. We have meetups, we have movie nights, we have get-togethers, we have group chats. It's just a great time. So if you want to check out some of the content there, the link will be below to join me. I would love to have you. And we also have a second separate Patreon that's for everyone. It's for the fellows, it's for the ladies, and it's a once a week. I almost said once a month. It's a once a week. It's a once a week live stream where I talk about all different, current events, topics. Sometimes we react to content. Sometimes we do a variety of topics. And it's just a great way to kind of tap in with me, once a week, kind of check in, have some fun. We have a good time. So the link will be down to join the gang with that as well. Now, let's pull up this podcast, okay? The glasses are going on, y'all. When the glasses go on, you know what that means. I mean business. Okay, so let me share my screen here. Now, this interview I'm about to show you, this is not satire. At first, I thought it was satire or a skit. I was like, oh, this I thought that they were joking about how, those old Christian women that been married for a long time. I thought this was a joke. And it took me some time to look and realize, oh my God, it's not a joke. This is serious. Okay. So I'm going to pull it up. So these pastors are the Steeles. It's Pastor Steele. And the fact that people like this can lead a congregation is why the world has no respect for Christianity. I can't even tell you the last time that I've even seen someone convert to Christianity. The only religion that I still see people converting to now is Islam. And I think that people are drawn more to Islam now because it's one of the only religions that actually still demands its respect. It's the only religion that actually still sets boundaries and standards, which is what people want from religion. People want religion to make them a better person, to give them boundaries and guidelines. So that's why I see people leaving Christianity, not coming to it. People want religions that keep them on track because that's the whole point. Okay. So the fact that Christianity even allows people like this to pastor is why the world does not respect Christianity. Christians are always like, people are always coming for Christianity. Yes, because you've made your religion a joke, unfortunately. I cannot believe that this pastor has a single member. My mind is just blown that anyone not only goes to this man's church to hear what he have to say, but you're giving this fool 10% of your income. That is mental illness at its finest. I don't care what no one says. Nobody will convince me that that's not mental illness, okay? So here they go. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this right now. And I really learned this when I had to deal with naturally fashionable bitch ass. Let me tell you the women that you definitely never, ever want to take any relationship advice from. There are 3 things where when I see these 3 things, I automatically know not to do shit you're saying and to do the opposite of whatever you say do. And that is fat. If you a fat wife, I for sure don't want to hear nothing you got to say. That's the first thing. Fat, no. Especially when you've been fat for a long time. Because it already tells me you have no reciprocity in relationships. You don't even care about what you contribute to the relationship for real. You're just worried about getting what you want. And as long as the man is just there in your mind, it's mission accomplished. Okay. So fat, automatically, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say because you don't reciprocate in relationships. You either pay your way through or you just attach to the man and be like, oh, well, you're stuck with my big fat grimace looking ass. So I definitely don't want to hear shit from the fat hoes that's been married a long time. Fat Christian, definitely don't want to hear it. And married for a few decades. So them girls that I've been married 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and they fat and Christian, my ears shut off. And matter of fact, let me keep my ear on. So I know to do the exact opposite of whatever you're doing. Okay. Now, this woman on this podcast, you can tell that her mama probably looked just like her. She probably come from a long line of women who just are gay and goofy. And like regular fat or unattractive women often are not on game about men because you're not attractive enough for men to show you the worst parts of them, if that makes sense. Like she might see the worst part in the man that she with, but they don't have consistent experiences of seeing the worst in men because men are not risking it all for you. But whereas women who tend to be more good looking tend to be less naive about men because the more good looking you are as a man, the more ugliness you tend to see from them. You see them risk things in ways that maybe another woman who look another way would not. So when I see the way this woman looks and she was dealing with him since high school, I automatically know that means she has zero understanding of how men really operate. And you'll pick up on that too as well as she talks. Game, goofy, fat Christian girls like this, they think, and my brain cannot, I don't know how this happens, but it does. They truly think that the man just being there means that he know where home is. Well, he been with me for 30 some years. And that's why weird women like this, their only comeback whenever they receive any type of, feedback in regards to how they look at marriage is, you just mad because you single, and you just mad because I've been keeping my man around for 30 years and you can't keep a man. That their response is that way because they truly believe that. They don't even know that a man will hate you and not want to be there, but still be there. They don't know that. So in their mind, they truly go around like, yeah, my man, he been coming back for 30 years. not knowing, honey, the only reason why he keep coming back is because he's done so much work to break you, and he's too lazy to try to find another woman to break like that. You're so invested and you're so waist deep in it. That's why he keep coming back, because you're his constant. But girls like this don't understand this because they have no knowledge of how the masculine mind really works. A woman's first loyalty is a man. A man's first loyalty is his dick. You must understand. Everything that he does into life is to advance and serve his dick. Okay? You don't understand that because your first thing is a man. As women, that is how we're wired. Okay? To serve and have our first priority be our man, our husband. Men are not that way towards a woman. Never have been. Okay? They don't necessarily care about the individual person. It's about, I have a mission, and where is the woman who can help me do the mission? That's how they, love, of course, may be a part of that. But in regards to their top priority, it's never a woman. The woman just simply is a piece in his mission. And he loves her because of that. So game goofy girls like that think that a man just being there, it means, oh, he love it here. Yeah, he ain't went nowhere. Oh, poor thing. Sweetie. And that's why, in my opinion, women like fat, game goofy women like this has been married for 30 years and dealt with all this. But that's who you want to take advice from. I wouldn't take advice from her. I wouldn't take directions from her. I wouldn't take directions how to get to QT from her. I would have asked her, how do I get to Kroger? She said, go left. I'd be having to double check it. So, warning, cringe level 1,000, y'all. And no, this is not satire.
March the 13th.
Right.
And today is significant. Why?
Because it is our 32nd anniversary.
Yes,
today.
32 years today.
32 years today. We walked down the aisle.
Mm-hmm. Even though he was an hour late.
He was an hour late?
He showed up.
Brad, you didn't come to the wedding late, did you?
But God.
No, we ain't gonna but God this. How you gonna show up at the wedding late?
I was conflicted.
Yeah.
You got to remember, she was 19. Mm-hmm. I just turned 21.
Right.
What's up, Lit Fam? This your boy, Latera Saul Whitfield.
I apologize, y'all. I thought we was past this point. As you got to see this goober face. Ooh, God, let me just fast. God. Why the more ugly somebody is, the more they want to be all on the camera. Good Lord, spare us. My God, I should sue. Why would you make us susceptible to that? Woo! Oh my God, how do I? Oh my God.
And we had a son already who was 11 and a half months.
Yep.
She was pregnant with our daughter, Mariah, who's now 31. Mm-hmm. And so it was tough.
Yeah. You was conflicted with what? You got cold feet?
I did. Yeah. I did,
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I've been out the night prior, my bachelor's party with the fellas. And
what happened at the bachelor party?
Man, I've learned in life some things you need to take to the graveyard.
Oh, come on. We know what happened at the bachelor party.
Whatever happened made him an hour.
An hour late to the wedding. Okay, so pro tip, listen to me. The wedding will tell you almost everything about the marriage. So he an hour late to the wedding, stay out all night, disappear, don't say nothing to you, get to the wedding late, don't compliment you, don't talk to you, I don't care how much money you spent on that wedding. I don't care how many people showed up. I don't care who flew in. I don't care who drove in. I don't care how much money you spent on decor, food. They late to the wedding, act a fool the night before the wedding, disappear, don't call, don't compliment the day of the wedding. It's supposed to be all about the bride. He should be toasting to you, cheering to you, showing you off, thanking you, telling you you're beautiful, and be on time at the very least. Okay? So if he's doing all that at the wedding, honey, you better bet your bottom dollar that everything he did is going to just amplify during the marriage. So save yourself and everyone a problem. He an hour late. It should have been like, listen, everyone, I want to thank you all for attempting to be here to support us. But unfortunately, this man does not clearly want to marry me and clearly does not like me. So if a man can be mean to you at your wedding, do you know how much he hates you? I don't think If a man can be mean to you and hurt you and ruin your day at your wedding and he's the groom, girl, he hates your guts. Okay. So the day that she decided to become his wife, he was late debating on whether or not he should show up. And I want you to also note what's scary about this is how they're laughing about everything. Like everything is funny. They're laughing. They're joking about it. He's nodding his head like, good girl. And I think that's the part about this that is like most disturbing, in my opinion.
It made him conflicted.
And I kept on paging him.
Right.
911.
Yeah.
Because there was pagers back then.
Yeah, because you got to remember this was 1993.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And my mom even came to me and said, Kelly, sometimes these things happen.
Mhm.
But I know he'll show up. And he showed up.
So you said you knew he was going to show up.
Absolutely.
Why?
So see how the other fat religious mama, I know her mama fat too, gonna tell her sometimes these things happen. We watched a movie last week during movie night, and it was called The Other Woman. It has Cameron Diaz in it. And if you're a woman, I highly recommend watching it. There is a scene in the movie where the wife, and she's frumpy and annoying. There's a scene in the movie where the wife ends up finding the other woman that her man was dealing with. And she's asking the other woman questions like about her husband and how he interact with her differently. And in this one particular scene, Cameron Diaz's character, which she plays like the bad bitch that got herself together in the show, in the movie. And there's a scene where the wife is asking Cameron about the husband, and Cameron Diaz's character is like, oh yeah, because he knows that she found out that he was married. So Cameron Diaz's character was like, oh my God, yes, I'm not answering his calls, but he keeps calling me, he needs to get the hint. And the wife was like, but he's in Miami right now. He's on a work trip. And the wife was like, so even when he's out of town on vacation, he still calls you? She was like, so even though you're not answering his phone, he's still calling? And Cameron was like, yes. And the wife was genuinely shocked, like, what? That's possible? And it gave me that epiphany. And I'm like, oh my God, that's why some women do this type of stuff, because they don't even know that there's an ulterior option. They don't even know that this is not how it's supposed to be. They're so mediocre and below average, and they are so clueless about how to reciprocate effort in the relationships that they simply truly think that if a man just decides to return their phone calls or agree to stick around, they think that's the norm. So now here she is at the wedding. The groom is an hour late, act like he don't even know if he want to marry her or show up. And the mom tells her, sometimes these things happen. Now, if your mama was a baddie with her stuff together, with self-esteem and integrity, she would have dragged you up out that chapel and said, oh no, if he's an hour late and he's not sure, I'm going to save you from divorce, abuse, heartbreak, and a headache and get you out of here before saying yes. And instead, her mama, also game goofy, says, oh, well, honey, sometimes these things happen. A piece of a man is better than no man. He just a man. He trying his best. Don't blame Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie, just a man, and he is doing the best he can. And that's why the Gen X men heads are exploding now, when women now are like, oh, no, you're abusive. You're mistreating, I'm leaving. That's why they're confused now, because they had the boomer men and other Gen X men teaching them that no matter how you abuse your wife, if she really love you, she ain't never gonna leave. And so when the woman try to say, hey, I need this, I'm hurting with this, they don't listen because they know, man, if she really love me, she gonna still be here. Those who the divorce came out of nowhere. Okay. So the very first thing that I learned in this podcast is the importance of a feminine network so that you don't crash out. And even if you have a pick-me mama who's game goofy, you can still create another network of women in which you can have support through situations like this. Because it would have been nice for her to have a big sister to pull her aside and say, sis, you can do better than this. You're 19. Why don't you hold out and find a man that actually likes you and marry him? But instead, her mama tell her, go ahead, baby. You know, Mr. Charlie, just the man. Ugh.
Because I know my man. I knew he was just, out late last night, the night before, and I just had no doubt.
So Reggie, take me back to that moment. You were how old? 21. 21. Mm-hmm. So you're 21 and you had some extracurricular activities the night before, which I always think is the craziest thing that we normalize before we get married. Mm-hmm. We normalize having the strippers. We normalize saying, hey, get your last piece before you say I do. Right. And now you're bringing that into your covenant, trying to unravel what you just did the night before you take this the most beautiful step and create a covenant with a woman, but you bringing that into it less than 24 hours prior. Why do you think that is?
I think that how sometimes we're wired, even as young men, you're going to have what I call human moments. Yeah. Even the Bible says in Isaiah 40:30 that young men would utterly fall. Right. So let's just say I was fulfilling scripture. Utterly, which means absolutely. Romans 3:23.
I'm sorry, what was funny about that? It's the laughing. Like, the laughing shows how much that we try to make abusers feel comfortable. Whereas the dear future wifey guy, why are you not being a man and straight up? Why are you laughing? All the giggling is annoying, period. And to sit there and laugh at this abuse is like, is you cool? And this is why guys like this get away with it, because everyone in their community goes out their way to ignore and make him feel comfortable about his abuse instead of calling him out for it. And so now you're over here trying to make him feel better and you giggling, trying to ease the blow for him, and it's not right. Okay. The laughing at this is sending me up a ledge.
Have sinned and come short of the glory of God.
You said you're gonna take that scripture, get it tattooed on your chest, and live it, huh? And so, but you were assured, you were blessed assured that he was gonna show up.
Well, before we got married, we dated in high school, and in high school, I knew that I was number one. But I knew when I met him, he told me, you're my starter, but I got other ones on the bench. And what else would you tell me, baby?
That you my point guard.
Yes. And that you love me.
But I like them.
Right. So I was in a relationship I was okay with that as long as I was first. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason for that.
I was okay with that as long as I was first. So let me tell you another thing about this archetype of woman. They stay with the man because they are psychopaths, by the way. Please don't think that women like her are just this goody. She just stuck by her man. Oh my God, what a great wife. Please don't think that about these type of women, okay? Healthy women are not, if you're sitting there abusing, looking at her in her face saying, you're worthless, I hate you, I don't even like you. A healthy woman is going to not be there because, you hate me, you don't like me, I'm leaving. You have to be psychopathic to some extent as a woman and have a man over and over tell you he don't like you, don't claim you, he don't reciprocate, he can't stand the day you were born, and you stay. And when she said, oh, I didn't mind because I was first. So women like this will stay with a man even if he doesn't like them. Even if he's abusive, even if he's cheating. I've even seen it where the man has a whole relationship going on. But for the public eye, she will, we're still married because she doesn't want to lose to any other woman. And those people might sound like, well, who would ruin their life and be miserable in their life just to not let another woman win? You will be surprised how common it is. And she paints herself out to be this martyr, loving wife who just going to stick by her man. And that's not the case. She's a controlling, psychotic bitch. That's what it really is. And what's also so interesting about women like this, who are not even focused on how they feel or the man, they're just focused on winning and being first for everyone else, is that they cheat. And they typically mostly have a lot of emotional affairs. So it's such a mind fuck. They will sit there and paint themselves out to be the poor wife. Feel bad for me. I'm just so down for my man. And the whole time they be talking to other men about their feelings. The whole time they have a side dude and they spread it low and laying it wide. And it's so weird how they will juxtapose that with the persona of the down for you wife. And that's the real reason why they stick around through all the mess, because they doing the mess too. In my opinion, this is a marriage between a covert and overt narcissist. Both of their ass. She said, I didn't mind long as I was first. Oh my God, that tells me everything I need to know. Psychopath.
I want, the women to know out there, I didn't know Jesus. I didn't, know who I was. What'd you say, babe? I had no value.
No, you had no value. You had no worth. You did not know who you were.
He said you didn't know your self-worth.
Right. And I'm 17.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm a teenager. And I was preconditioned to think this way because my mother divorced my father for infidelity. And I'd always thought if you could just forgive him, our family would stay together.
Oh, that's deep.
So that was that deeply rooted, pick me, slow hoe energy. Let me get this straight. Your father cheats and you hop over him and think about your mom and say that if she would have just forgave him, the family could have stayed together. Not that if your dad just, was faithful in his marriage, the family could have stayed together. That tell me everything I know. Slow hoe energy, game goofy broads. That's period. Pick me DNA. Clueless. Mr. Charlie. Yeah, he doing the best he can. Where you don't have no expectations or standards of them. My cat, here he go, wreaking havoc as usual. Oh, this is so cringe.
It's not a deal breaker for me, as long as I knew about it. Now, he knows if I found out about it, we'd have a problem.
But if he told you in advance, you'd be okay.
Yeah.
So if he said, hey, listen, tomorrow I got this little shorty lined up. I'm going to go run through and I'm going to smash it. I'll see you the next day.
He would never say that.
It was usually after the fact.
Yeah.
Hey, I had a hiccup last night. Just heads up.
Yeah.
A
hiccup.
You were saying after the fact? Right. As long as he confessed prior from you finding out, you said that's cool. Yeah. That's okay.
In fact, before he married me, he's like, I don't know if I'll ever be faithful. And I said, that's okay. So I walked down the aisle knowing I was marrying his worst, meaning that if he were to do something, the worst would be him stepping out.
And then in your marriage, were y'all faced with that?
We're going to listen to like 4 more minutes of this, and then that will be it. And then I'm going to give the rest of my commentary because this is making me feel nauseous.
Yes.
Absolutely.
How soon?
Oh, from the gate. Yeah. I came from.
He said, oh, so was you cheating in your marriage? That fool said, true, from the gate, from day one. He's not being met with an ounce of shame or accountability for this. Everyone's just laughing, trying to make him feel comfortable so that he doesn't feel bad about what he's doing. Oh, and if y'all think this man don't still cheat, you also are a slow hoe. Okay? If y'all think this man has stopped cheating, honey, the short bus needs you.
My dad had 10 kids by 6 different women.
Wow.
So I have 6 brothers and all of us, just kind of womanizers, if you will.
Yeah.
Exodus 20 verse 5 talks about how the sins of your forefathers will visit you. Well, I'm telling you, them demons visited me for real. And so, even my dad, who was in my life for 48 years until he transitioned, he always told me that would be a struggle because that was his struggle.
Right.
And it was my brothers who.
And this is exactly how generational spells and dysfunction continues. Because the next generation job is not to heal or do better than you because they'll have beat you. So if you was a womanizer and couldn't keep it in your pants and ran through women, do you see how the toxic boomer parent mentality to the Gen X men, instead of them saying, if you want to run around, just be single. You know what I'm saying? Don't have a wife and be hurting her. Don't have a wife and be stepping out on her. You know who you are, have discipline, have control. Look at Shannon Sharp right now and where this has gotten him. Okay. So instead of the father, we all know sins of the father is a thing. Okay. The sins of the father affects his children, their children, children after that. There are women right now in their life struggling and can't figure out why. And it's literally because this is the culture and seed that the creator of your family, aka the man, has chosen for its seeds. So instead of the father saying, be better than me, they plant the seeds in the son's head that this is just how it is. This is just how it's going to be, because they have built their lack of accountability off of the back of, I can't help it. This is just how it is. So if your son comes up and doesn't do that and has a discipline and does better, he proves that it can be done. You just couldn't do it. So the toxic boomer parent always tries to compete with their child and always tries to be better than their child. So he curses the young boy and puts the seed on him that, yeah, that's gonna be your struggle. Look at that spell. And this is how it continues. Oh, son, here go the magic wand. Alakazoo, a dippity doo, a bippity boppity boo. Oh, yeah, you're going to want to fuck hella bitches for sure. That's what it's going to be. It's in your blood. Cursing the child. Ooh, my God, today.
Who are older than me struggle.
That's real.
And so that's the demon that we just had to fight.
Right.
So did he tell you it'll be a struggle, but tell you, son, you can overcome it? Did he try to tell you tools, or did he just say, this is just who we are, men are men?
He said, that's who you are, men are men.
Right.
And he said, but the one thing with you, he said, I'm hoping you don't spread your seed like I did with 10 kids, 6 women. He said, please get one woman and have all your children by her, which I've been able to pull that off. We have 5 adult children who we had.
Let me tell you something else right now. And I know this because my baby granddaddy is like this. He was just like this type of man on his paternal side. Honey, that man got 4 daughters with his wife. Baby, that man got my baby daddy as a son. His own daughters don't know my baby daddy is his child. And everyone be like, oh, he never got his son. Oh, he got a son. Oh, he got a son. By my baby daddy hooker of a mama. Oh, he has a son. Okay. So if y'all think it is not common for these type of women to cover and mask his outside children, I have seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it in my own life. If y'all think that this man don't have other children, you are also slow. Oh, this man got outside children. But for this generation of men, the wife would literally help them hide it. So y'all can believe all you want to that he put all his seeds in one place. Yeah, right. That's a lie. Them older men like that, boy, they'll have whole. I still can't believe to this day my baby daddy exists and his daddy family ain't got no clue he's even breathing. That's crazy. Almost 40 some years later, that secret stayed. That's crazy to me. So, baby, oh, you got some kids somewhere. Moving how you moving. Oh, you got some. But when you have a woman like her, women like this will protect him when he R's someone. They will protect him when he assaults someone. They will protect him from accountability from the outside children. You better believe it. Women like this darn near will let him touch on their own daughters, niece, and everything, and will blame them, talking about, oh, you trying to take my man. This type of woman is the worst type. Trust me on that.
Yeah, 5 kids in 6 years, 11 months and 16 days.
Wow.
3 boys, 2 girls, and now we almost got 6 grandkids. Well, 5.5 right now.
Right.
So we're in that season now.
Yeah.
So you felt like you still honored your father's request by not spreading your seed amongst everybody.
That's right.
But you succumbed to the ideology that, hey, men just can't be faithful.
That part. You know, it's interesting. I was out shooting craps one night at this place, and illegal place. And so while I'm shooting dice, this young lady was with me. It wasn't her.
No.
And one of the gentlemen, he said, "Hey man, is your dad Alonzo still?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I remember when he would come in this same room and he would have different females with him." And to me, that was a flex. I'm like, "That's what's up." And then this older gentleman, he said, "Is your grandfather Lil Burn still?" I said,
Wow.
"It is." He said, "I remember when he used to come in this same room and he used to have different women with him." When he made that comment, it wasn't cute. Now, when the gentleman who knew my dad, that was cute. But when the second gentleman said it about my grandfather, I was like, wait a minute. At the time, my son, who's 33, he was 3 at the time. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is going to go from Lil Burn to Alonzo to Reggie and then Isaiah.
Right.
And so when I left that night with the young lady, normally I would go upstairs and, you do what you do. And I dropped her off and kept moving. I drove home scared that night because
Really?
I was like, wait a minute, because I grew up in church. I was saved, but I wasn't delivered.
So how old were you during that time?
21, 22 years old.
So that was at the beginning of your
23,
marriage.
Exactly, 23.
So a couple of years in your marriage.
Yep.
And you were okay being out in public with women.
Right.
She was okay with it. But that moment, you had this Kairos moment where you was like, hold on.
Right. Exactly. Because I grew up in the pews. My dad pastored for almost 40 years. So I still had an awareness of God. And so, but that scared me that night. That did something to me.
So from a spiritual standpoint, you watched your father be unfaithful, live that life, preach the gospel, probably was dynamic with it, was amazing.
Sure.
And you accepted that this is just how men are. And men of the cloth.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Was your grandfather a pastor?
Deacon. Yeah. So through God's grace that we're trying to manage, say things that have helped me as Isaiah 50 to fight my own personal demons. Because we all got
transparent.
Right.
The reason why I love you is because my whole podcast was built off of that. I said, we need.
You know what? These podcasts built off of like making your abuse and infidelity entertainment is odd to me. So he's like, oh, I love you because I capitalized and made it entertainment, exploiting that I abused and had infidelity with my wife too. That's why I love you. And this is why I stay off social media now. I stay off social media because I can't. When I hear stuff like this, it just makes me lose faith in humanity. I don't like hearing this. Like
to find healing. I said I was broken.
Talk too much.
And overcommunication of this podcast.
That a title could make you change. I learned very quickly that titles do not make people change. And I also thought that if he would own me, I wanted to be Mrs. Steele. If he had ownership, then he would treat me accordingly.
Oh, God.
I had to learn that way that wasn't true either. And so I really, I just knew that if we could just be united, that would make a man change, but it doesn't. And plus, I needed to change also. We were 2 teenagers getting married, and I was looking for fulfillment. I was wanting to fulfill a void that I was missing. Of course, that void could only be filled by Jesus. I didn't know that then.
All right. I don't want to hear any more of this. Anywho, she goes on. Mind y'all, she was pregnant with their second child when he married her, which is a might as well wife. Look at my video on that if you wonder what that is. So he was broke. She said she had a job. He was working during the day, or she was working at night. He was working during the day because they couldn't afford daycare. So on top of that, she's over here ironing his clothes so he can go cheat, and she got to work. And they can't even afford daycare, and she had them babies before he married her. Disappointed and lost her family for getting pregnant unmarried. She said she was a dispatcher for 911 and got a call about a robbery, and he was the one doing the robbery. So this man is a sociopath, okay? This is what a sociopath looks like. They have zero ability to look inside. They're selfish. They don't care how they are hurting a woman. They only look at their needs. They commit crime, and they don't know why they commit the crime. They cannot look inside themselves. They don't care if they're hurting you. So, ma'am, this man is a sociopath, and you're over here like, yeah, well, I got the call about him committing a robbery, but I'm about to walk him down the aisle. Okay. All right. So, there is a therapist that ended up going on a live stream with them. Where is it? ended up going on a live stream with them because they were ending up getting so much backlash about the situation. So they ended up getting so much backlash that, of course, people put their marriage on the internet. And then when people have an opinion, then they go off and go to explaining to try to set the record straight. Okay. It's a tale is all this time. People love doing that. Okay. They put all their marital business on the internet, then be like, hold on, but y'all didn't need to comment on it. So here is a clip of the live stream. This creator's named Frankie. And there's a therapist that's about to clear their ass and get them together. And I'm here for it. So watch the wife start explaining, y'all. Watch this. And I'm so glad that another woman is holding this woman accountable. Because my thing is this, baby, listen. If you want them women that's going to stay with a man because of public opinion or to prove something to someone else, then that's a decision that you make for you. At the end of the day, that's your marriage. Stay out of married people business. Do you. My issue with her is that she has a whole ministry to campaign for other women to become victims of habitual pathological disrespect like you have. That's my issue. If you chose that for yourself, so be it. But it's the fact that you have positioned yourself in front of other women as some type of, I've been married a long time, so you can listen to me. And I know that you are counseling and encouraging other women to do the same fuck shit. That is wherein the problem lies, right there. So they held her accountable.
And the things that was said and brought up that was wrong. So I'm gonna play y'all a clip for a minute, and then I'm gonna give y'all a breakdown of what happened.
Laterra's asked, what do you say to the people, the women who stated that like this is low self-esteem and low self-worth? And you mentioned, oh, well, that's why they're single. And it could have been helpful to state that you did.
I said it, but it was reference to what about women that don't want to have a man that they have to work on? And I said, yes. Well, not. It was more in my mind talking because it was free conversation in a living room setting, and in the context of it, it was not say abused. It was you can work with people.
Because she's stuttering
because they may have met somebody early, but they didn't want to work together as far as building and becoming a man. Like for instance, if they met at 20.
Look how she's playing and stuttering, girl. First of all, women like her, I don't argue with because she's suffering from severe Stockholm syndrome. Okay. When a woman sits and is disregarded and disrespected and cheated on and beat down like that by a man for extended periods of time, it causes psychosis in her. She will lash out at everyone. She don't care what you say to her. She will get mad at you and come for you if you even think about trying to get in her ear about, hey, you should show yourself some more respect in this. You don't have to be with this man. When you're abused, you're allowed to leave the marriage. Okay? I don't even waste my time. Women that are suffering from Stockholm to this degree, don't waste your time. She is committed to this. She's too knee deep in this now to say, hey, I was wrong. These type of women will never admit they're wrong, which is why she's lying right now, saying that what she wasn't telling women to deal with that. She was telling women that, oh, you got to build with your man. You got to make it work. We know that. Building with your man is working through how to communicate, getting household duties established. You know what I'm saying? Financial cultures. That is what you work through in your marriage. Infidelity, cheating, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, STD exposure, outside babies, those are not part of what need to be worked through. Those are the things when you see them, that is abuse, and you need to be removing yourself, especially someone like you where you got a cheating daddy, because you never get a man different than your daddy. People think, oh, you never get better than your baby daddy. No, you never get better than your actual father. Okay. Once again, the good news is your man could be what your father would have been had he got therapy and looked within. Okay. So some women might say, well, my dad was here, but my husband is great. Your husband represents what your father would have been if he had any ability to look at himself for real. Okay. But typically that doesn't happen. Your daddy wants shit Every man you get, we're going to be like, hey, that's just how it's going to go. So for her, you need to be very careful, since you do have a father who broke the family up with infidelity. You should be even more careful about very strict boundaries, because you're already going to be prone to attract abusive men. Okay. And so now you're sitting over here backtracking, saying, oh no, I was saying that women don't want to work with their man. Honey, the things you went through was nothing that was about working through anything. You're over here telling us and celebrating that you've been married for 32 years. That is 31 and a half years too long. Okay. Women that first speak on the length of their marriage as opposed to the health of the marriage says a lot. When the first thing out of woman's mouth is to note how long she's been there, it's because she felt every minute, hour, and day of that time frame. That's why it's the first thing out her mouth, because she felt every day of them 32 years. Okay. But watch the sister hold her feet to the fire and hold her accountable. Watch this.
Well, he doesn't have stuff together. He's not making six figures. He doesn't have a house. He's in an apartment. My mind is you can work and build those things in a relationship and not have a ready-made man, because I believe the reference was women want someone 6 foot, 6 figures with a six pack.
A lot of stuff that y'all are saying is going to trigger a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
So now she sat there, and because I don't know if y'all caught that part, but the therapist said, it was disturbing how, when they were asked, like, what about women who don't want to deal with all that? And your response was, oh, well, that's why they single. And so the therapist was like, it was odd that the women are saying, hey, I don't want to have to deal with that. I am not going through that. And her response is the typical fat Christian, married a long time response, which is her first thing is, you just mad because you ain't got no man and I'm married. I've been married for a long time. Where your man at? That's their comeback every time. They never have a real explanation for the disrespect. It's just, oh, you just mad because I've been married a long time and you haven't. That's why I don't argue with them. I don't say nothing to them. So now she's lying, saying, I didn't say that. I was simply saying these women want a man with a six pack and 6 figures, and you gotta be willing to build with him. That ain't what you said, bitch. That ain't what you said, ho. Now this about to be a major this you moment. Y'all get ready for this you.
They're going to look at it like, see, that's that struggle love they're talking about. I don't want it.
Right.
I don't want the struggle of, I don't want to have to deal with a man that has to go through all that and me lower my standard, lower my value, lower everything that I know that I am as a woman to work through the cultivation of a man, for a man to be in this broken state, disrespectful, call me out my name, parading women in front of me, and then I'm going to pray for his deliverance and pray, no, God, I need the reformed man. Bring me the man that after he's been set free and delivered. I don't want that process.
They want that finished product.
So my question to you, because only you can say that, what would you, I don't even want to say advice. How can you reframe or state, because this is your story, this is your journey.
My story.
It's your story.
Right.
Sure. What would you say to the women that may be looking at this and say, see, that's that nonsense they talking about?
Well, I would say that's why you're single still. Because I'm sure somebody had been in your life already,
pick the fight,
and you didn't want to give the investment for that person to become somebody, and then you lost them probably a long time ago, and you should have just worked with them from the beginning and just worked out the kinks and worked it out, because a man can always build, money can always be made, and that's what we do. We build a life together. And I'm so thankful that that's what we've done. And that's why I think I value and love you so much, because we've built our life. And so they miss that building process because they want to come into it already done. Now, I get it. Eve was put on the earth with everything done. I get it. That's why women want things to be set and done, because Eve showed up and everything was named and it was just there.
Wow.
But at the same time, God can give women a resilience, because we're a helpmeet for a reason. And we're supposed to help meet the need and help complete the man. I know it's going to cause a fight with that too, but I'm very into that, because I'm living it. I'm a living example of it works. When you line up your life and get behind your man that is following God, that's submitted to God, and you say, Lord, what can I do to make him better? Your life overall becomes better. And
oh no, that wasn't the reference. He just stated that this is people are going to be upset about this.
Yeah.
I want to say this is low self-esteem. I met my husband at 20 as well. We've been together for 15 years and married for 8. And I know it's not as long as you guys have been together, but even just mentioning the age part also seems like a justification. And when you mention it in response to Lateria's saying it, is the way you said it, well, that's why they're single. Singlehood isn't punishment. Being partnered doesn't mean peace. So I think that's also an issue that I took with it. It wasn't solely about, it's about like, oh, that's why they're single. And in stating that, you're making it like singlehood is a punishment. And even in the statement where you mentioned the woman came to your job and you're like, oh, well, I'm the wife. I'm the wife
Yes.
here. There were just consistent examples of, as long as you have a title, you stay through thick and thin. And there's a difference between thick and unjust. There's a difference between thick and emotional abuse. So I think that is the biggest issue. It's not to judge you on based off of what you went through. It's to talk about your response to you sharing what you went through.
You're saying,
and then
all I can say is
oh my God, I love that. I'm going to try to find the full live, and we might go over that in the woman's group. I love that therapist. I love the way that she articulated that. Yes, hold their feet to the fire, because it is so dangerous to platform these women as some type of woman that's been married a long time, so this is who you should listen to. And you're literally sending women to the slaughterhouse with this behavior. You're literally putting them in a worse position with this. As a woman, it is your job to protect yourself. Okay? Read the room. That's why a lot of girls have an issue with me, because I don't allow you to become a martyr in your own life and then come get attention and sympathy for it. As a woman, you are prone to desire attention, validation, and adoration. Don't fight that part of it. Instead, learn how to harvest that in healthy ways by your creativity, your beauty, your accomplishment, your nurturing, your domestic skills, your cooking. Learn to get a positive attention because of that, not from hurting yourself, sitting willingly with a highly abusive man when you could have been left. I don't understand. Are your legs broke? I don't get it. Have you forgot how to put one foot in front of the other? Get the fuck on. And that's why women get so triggered. And that's why they translate looking at them like, I don't feel bad for you. That's your fault. That's why it makes them so upset. Because if they don't know how to harvest healthy attention and validation, they need you to sit and feel bad for them to keep dealing with this man when they could have been simply left. But when two narcissists get together like this, two things ends up happening, because they're in the video, he speaks about how she used to bleach his clothes and, you know what I'm saying, all the crazy stuff, all the pulling up. So two narcissists like this end up staying together because no other woman is invested enough to iron your clothes for you to go cheat, and no other man needs your supply and ego stroking to deal with your antics and you're arguing it back and forth and where you at and who you are than him. And so that's how two narcissists like this end up staying together forever, because it is quite literally a game of not letting everyone else win. And they will be miserable and stay together literally just to prove a point to other people. I know it sounds crazy, but it happens all the time. And they end up becoming a toxic supply to one another. That's just how it goes, okay? It is your job to recognize. It's one thing if your partner is willing to change, willing to get help, willing to communicate. That's one thing. But when it becomes habitual, they don't want to change, they don't want no help, they're hurting you, you are responsible to remove yourself from that situation. You are responsible as a woman to be careful about what advice and information you give to women that might look up to you, okay? And I am so glad that we're straying away from this. And this is what a lot of the men are missing. They're like, what happened to the relationships like the old days? This is what they're talking about. You know, and many women have said, you know what? No, you know, we're to this place now. No, we want respect. We want emotional intelligence to a degree. We're not asking you to have emotional intelligence like a woman would, but just the basics of even crazy story about how to not abuse people around you due to your own wounds or your own issues or mental health problems. Okay. So, you know, I don't even need to say too much, because I feel like anyone who reads this, if you got half a common sense, you would understand this. And I think the most important thing to understand in this conversation is that a man can be there and still hate you. I think that's the concept that a lot of women are having trouble understanding. Oh, he's here. He keep coming back, so he must. No, he must not. There is no, oh, he keep coming, so he must be. No, baby. No, baby. That's not how it goes, okay? This is extremely unhealthy. I'm so glad to see people speaking out about this. I am so glad that we as women can combat this negative energy and this spell that she attempted to put out on us. And we have reversed it back to her. Baby, send that back to the sender. Misery loves company, baby, and we don't want to come over. Y'all, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave in the comments your thoughts on this situation. And I will see y'all on the next one.